Well, you never know what's going to be talked about on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hello there. Thanks for being with us. I'm Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgiani. Today we're going to talk about, you ready for this? Thrift stores. Thrift stores. How does that, what in the world, how does that tie into our faith? Debbie,
that's what I was thinking.
I have a lot of ways that this can tie into our faith, and I bet you do too. Mm-hmm. Should be a fun broadcast. Phone lines are open right now.
So what is the premise of today's, what are we trying to accomplish with talking about thrift stores? If we donate to thrift stores, if we frequent thrift stores, if we support them, is it good stewardship? Is it part of the Christian way of life to have that part of our life to explore thrift stores, because we could be saving money and using that money in other charitable ways and also supporting that charity? Or what are we looking for, Jerry?
Well, there are a lot of tie-ins to faith, I believe. One of the main ways is a lot of Christian ministries run thrift stores. It's one of the ways that they support themselves. So, love to hear from anybody. If you run a thrift store, if your church does, if you volunteer at one, give us a call, 1-800-585-9396. But Debbie, another thing is, we talk a lot about, you and I have done a show about purging our stuff.
Oh, I love that.
You know, we get so much. I have a closet full of stuff that I haven't even looked at for years, and every time I go by, I think I've got to get rid of some of that stuff, and I would donate it to thrift stores. So it's a way for us to be generous and also virtuous by not having all of this excess stuff. And then you're making what usually is quality merchandise available to people who might not have the means or might be just wanting to practice good stewardship. So There's a few tie-ins right there, I think. What do you think?
I agree with you. It's a win-win all the way around. And calls are already coming in. A lot of people have a lot to say about thrift stores and how we can be part of them as part of our Christian duty. Number to dial is 1-800-585-9396. Jump in. We want you to share your take on this. Jerry, I agree with you about purging, because when we purge and detach ourselves from things that are bogging us down, cluttering our house, cluttering things around us, it really does free us up to allow us to spend more time for our spiritual growth rather than our material growth. And it's really interesting how purging is definitely a necessary component to advancing our spiritual growth. And you're right, when we can help others with the fact that we are taking that time to do that for ourselves, to free ourselves up, and then we're helping others. Boy, that is really, I think that just, it's got to make our good Lord smile at that, because at least we're not trying to make money off of it or possibly even just throw it out thinking, well, I'll just take the easy way out, I'll just throw it out, but to give it over to others that others can benefit. Like St. Vincent de Paul does great work with thrift stores all over the country. And that's our charity of choice, Jerry. Marty and I, my husband and I, we constantly...
That guy.
Yeah.
That husband.
That husband, my real husband. And we always call St. Vincent de Paul to come and pick up, and they're wonderful about it. Oh boy, the people are so kind, and it really does make our heart feel good that we're doing something good. And the funny thing about it is it's stuff we were going to technically get rid of anyway. But to make that effort to do that, I think makes a big difference in others' lives. And I know you're a thrift store shopper, and you've benefited greatly from it. I know you're going to share with our audience just exactly how you've mastered that. I haven't mastered that yet. Well, yeah, because every time I go in, I can't find it. It is an art. It is an art. But it's interesting. So, dear listeners, that's what we're talking about today. Call in, share your take. This is going to be an exciting show. 1-800-585-9396.
Well, and it's a tax write-off, too. So there's another benefit, because I don't know about anybody else, but I like to keep as much money out of the government's hands as possible. Here's what I like to say. You can give it to your uncle, Sam, or you can give it to your mother, the church. So if we can save money on our taxes, then that gives us more that we can donate to charity as well. But you're right, Debbie. I'd say probably every couple weeks I'll pop into a couple thrift stores. I'm wearing shorts and a shirt right now that cost a total of about $8. And
it's
retail,
very nice, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it is. It's very, it fits you. It looks nice. It looks brand new. But go ahead.
Well, no, retail, it would have, I'm probably looking at $80, $90 worth of clothes for about $8. So Anyway, we got an email, too. I've got to read this. This is
Yes.
funny. Here's our number, by the way. Phone lines are almost full. We're talking about thrift stores, the benefits, the virtues, the graces we can get, tying it into our faith. 1-800-585-9396. We got an email, Debbie, from Sarah, and I hope she doesn't mind that we read this. This is really, there's some parts of this that are hilarious. Sarah says, "Dear Debbie and Jerry, I was listening yesterday and heard the topic for today, how I wish I could listen in today. I'm having a garage sale, and I don't know if I'll be able to tune in. However, I wanted to comment on the topic." She says, "We are thrifty shoppers. We buy at off seasons. We attend auctions and garage sales. Hand-me-downs fill our home. The point was recently illustrated when we had out-of-town guests who had never visited our home before. I was surprised at how often I said, 'We got that at an auction,' or 'We found that at a garage sale,' when they complimented various items in our home. My husband considers thrift shopping, especially auctions, like treasure hunting. In fact, our first home was originally purchased at auction. My husband has owned it for 28 years. He says, 'You'll never know how much groaning he made when we bought our new house because it was, quote, not a deal.' And he says, also, Jerry, it's good to hear that you like thrift shopping. So often the general public considers radio and TV personalities people with a lot of money and influence. That isn't necessarily the case. So glad you're transparent with your listeners. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for sharing your gifts and talents with us through the radio programs. One of my favorites. Thank you, Sarah, for that email. Debbie, that is really, isn't that funny? She's having a garage sale today. So
that is beautiful. Well, didn't she say something that she could possibly tune in on one of her apps, maybe at the garage? So Sarah, if you're listening at your garage sale, we're praying that you have a successful garage sale and it benefits a lot of people. But I thought that was adorable, her last comment about radio people or something, how transparent we are. I think that's hilarious, Jerry. We spend our life, you and I, begging for money for Catholic radio.
Right.
We definitely don't have enough, because if we would, we wouldn't be begging for money to support Catholic radio stations. But that was beautiful, Sarah. Thanks for taking the time and being with us. This is awesome. Rita, you're going to be up first, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say from Cape May, New Jersey. We're talking on Take Two about thrift stores. We want to hear from you.
Hello, friends. Father Wade Menezes here of the Fathers of Mercy for EWTN Radio with another Mercy Moment for the extraordinary Jubilee Year of Mercy called for by Pope Francis. In his landmark encyclical on the mercy of God, titled Dives in Misericordia, that is, Rich in Mercy, Pope St. John Paul II states the following, quote, "The parable of the prodigal son, found in chapter 15 of St. Luke's Gospel, expresses in a simple but profound way the reality of conversion. Conversion is the most concrete expression of the working of love and of the presence of mercy in the human world, and the Church, professing mercy and remaining always faithful to it, has the right and the duty to call upon the mercy of God. Indeed, the Church must profess and proclaim God's mercy and all its truth, as it has been handed down to us by divine revelation." End quote. This, then, my friends, is the heart of the message of this extraordinary Holy Year, the great Jubilee Year of Mercy. The realities of conversion, mercy, and the Church's right, as the bride of Christ, to proclaim both to the modern world. And that's another Mercy Moment. I'm Father Wade Menezes of the Fathers of Mercy. Be sure to visit fathersofmercy.com, and God bless you.
This is Bishop John Brungart of the Diocese of Dodge City.
This is Colin Donovan, Vice President for Theology.
This is Father Larry Richards, host of Open Line Thursday. Thanks for listening to EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
All right. Thank all of you who are not holding garage sales for tuning in today. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Jerry Usher with Debbie Georgianni, and we so value your listenership here on this program. And today we're talking again. It's about thrift stores. We can be charitable and generous in donating. It can be good for us to clean out some of the clutter sometimes, make a little more room for God. If you like good stewardship, but like me, and I just hate paying retail for clothes. I don't know why. It's just you look at a shirt that's brand new and the price tag will be like $90 and I think I can get that for $6 at a thrift store. Maybe somebody else wore it once, but Anyway, we want to hear your takes on this. 1-800-585-9396. As Debbie said, Rita is first in Cape May, New Jersey, listening to EWTN Radio on WSMJ. Hi, Rita. You get to go first today. How are you?
Hi. This is a great show. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
I started flea markets and garage sales years ago when my kids were little. And I bought old furniture, refinished it for my house. But lately, this last 3 years, we we're an affiliate of EWTN. We have WSMJ Catholic Radio 91.9 FM, and that's how we support our radio station. I have a little shop. It's named after St. Teresa of Avila. It's Teresa's Tides, and we take donations for Catholic Radio, and that's how we support our radio station.
Oh my goodness, Rita. So you're supporting your local Catholic radio station that has the EWTN programs on it through your thrift store?
Right.
Wow. And how is that received by the community? Are you finding that more and more people are finding out about it and saying, wow, this is a great idea, let me support it?
Yes. People love it. First of all, we love the hunt, where there's always something unique in shops like this. You can even replace dinnerware or glassware or something. You can always find something. But for the church, to give back to the church, we take all donations, clothing, dishes, furniture, and some of them have to be recycled and fixed and mended. But we resell everything. We don't waste a thing. So it's all for the love of God.
Okay, so Rita, let me ask you this question. You're going to think I'm absolutely crazy, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I have certain pieces of china and stuff like that are, I think, could be worth something, in the sense that if you wanted to resell it, I personally would like to have it go somewhere where it could do some good rather than just trying to sell it. If I were to ship you a box, I'm being serious. If I were to ship you a box, would you sell it so that it could support your station?
Oh, definitely. I'd welcome everything. Sure.
Okay.
I'll pay for the shipping.
Oh, well, bless your heart. It's going to be pretty heavy. It's 14 place settings.
You may want to reconsider that, Rita.
Yeah. But Rita, if you could leave your information before you hang up with Matt Gabinski, I'm going to be contacting you because I'll send you some stuff. As long as it's going to your Catholic radio station, that would make me so happy. Oh, boy.
Okay.
Wow. What a great call. Rita, way to go. What a great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Rita,
You
thank
were
you for
doing
what
it,
you're
so I was
doing.
prepared.
Yeah, thank you for what you're doing for Catholic Radio and for so many souls, Rita. Thank you so much. Great to hear from you. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
All right, 1-800-585-9396. That was a great way to start the calls, because it's someone not only who appreciates the whole thrift store idea, but actually runs one, and it benefits Catholic Radio at the same time.
Huge.
That's fantastic. All right, thank you all for your patience on the line.
amazing.
We'll go next to Betty in Grand Forks, North Dakota, listening to EWTN Radio on Real Presence Radio. Hello, Betty. What is your take on thrift stores?
Yeah, hello, guys. I just wanted to say thanks for catching up on this topic. And I personally, for me and my family, thrift stores are just the best way to be frugal and to save money. So to cut costs, we don't need to buy hundreds of dollars worth of clothes or furniture. We can just get it, gently used secondhand and save so much money. So my point is to be frugal. And also, I've been just talking to my husband recently about how God provides the things that you need. So you mentioned the treasure hunt, but also just if, for example, if I need like a baby bouncer, I can go on the hunt and eventually there it will be for $2 rather than $40, or a bassinet for, $15 rather than $160. So it brings me actually joy to just save my family money and to have that, as something for us in our livelihood. So.
Well, it makes complete sense, because this is stuff that you're using just for a short amount of time as the kids grow or something. Yeah, and so why invest that kind of money when it's just going to be grown out of anyway? Why not use it when you find something that's usable, that you can benefit from, and then you can move on and you've saved that money. It still looks great. I think it's wonderful. That's awesome. Do you have a lot of places in your area that you can shop around, or is it just like a few that you have to pick from?
We do, yeah. In Grand Forks, we have St. Joseph's Thrift Store, which is a part of our community, and then of course we have the Goodwill, which has I don't want to mention the deals. No, I'm just kidding. But we have several that are great, and I would just suggest to anyone that to walk into a thrift store and see what you could find. It's a way to really save costs on so many expenses. So
Right.
Yeah,
That's
and Betty,
beautiful.
you mentioned kids. Are they school age? So do you get school clothes and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. School clothes, my husband's clothes, my clothes, just a whole winter wardrobe or summer wardrobe for just 5% of the actual retail cost, which is a win for me. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Wow.
Awesome.
Way to go. That's beautiful. And it's you can make a whole I know I have friends that made a whole business out of really searching out different thrift stores, kind of passing information on to other people and what's happening at different deals at different places, and it's become a real community effort. I know there's a lot of groups that do it together. That's really neat, Betty. I think that's awesome. Way to go.
Yeah,
Thanks for
and really the key on that fact that God will provide the stuff that we need. I mean, I just think that if people just really focused on that, just God providing is really something that you can appreciate when all of a sudden he gives it when you need it. So maybe you have to wait a little bit longer for something or.
Right. No, that's true.
Awesome, Betty. Great call. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. God bless. Thank you.
Thank
God bless you too. Take two with Jerry and Debbie. We're taking a second, kind of a unique, maybe fresh look at thrift stores. We drive by them all the time. And maybe it's never crossed your mind to go into one, but perhaps you'll learn something today from all these people who are calling about how they make use of them. We're going to hear next from Terry in Boston, listening to EWTN Radio on the Station of the Cross. Terry, you're on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I just want to look at it more globally and think it's a great way to save our planet. If you can go in and buy something that's already been made, you're not taking a tree down or deforesting. You're using natural resources, something's already been built. So I look at it more globally that way, that I'm supporting and saving our planet.
And that's still a faith-related way to look at it. Yeah, because,
absolutely.
Yeah. So great show. I'd love to have Rita's address and send her things as well. I don't know if you can post it on a website so that we all can send her things.
Yeah,
but
Jerry, can we do that?
Maybe you can leave yours, Terry, and we can do it that way because Rita is hung up by now. But if you want to leave your information, then we can pass that along to Rita, and then she can take it from there. How does that sound?
Okay, I should talk to someone else.
Yeah.
Matt, stay on the line for a minute.
Stay on the line for Matt.
Perfect.
So, Matt, if you're listening, please take Terry's information as well.
This show might restock Rita's thrift store.
Yeah. Well, you know what's great, but Jerry, see what's great about that? I mean, here's the difference. I didn't even know that was happening. I didn't even know a thrift store was happening in New Jersey that's supporting Catholic radio. Now, see, for me, now that I know that, that's where I'll be sending my stuff, because why wouldn't I? I would be sending the stuff. I mean, obviously I send to St. Vincent de Paul because I love St. Vincent de Paul, but if I could also send and benefit Catholic radio, where I know souls are being impacted by Catholic radio programs 24 hours a day, wow, why wouldn't I? I mean, to me,
so
that's,
you mean
that's
there
awesome.
was something happening in New Jersey that you didn't know about? Debbie's from New Jersey, everyone.
I am from New Jersey. Kate
By
May
the way,
is
I want to say to
south
people,
of
and it's
where I
great
live.
that people want to help Rita out here, but folks, your own Catholic radio station may be doing something like this. So
That's right.
by all means, check with them. A lot of them take, for example, used cars and boats, and you hear these commercials that run. So there are a lot of ways to support EWTN and your local Catholic affiliate and get creative in doing so. If you've got some things that are no longer serving you but still have value, talk to your local Catholic radio station, and they may be able to use it in some way.
Well, and even like you just said, Jerry, even having a garage sale, you could have a garage sale to benefit Catholic radio, and then let the money go to Catholic radio. So you can do that. There's ways to do it. I think that's beautiful. Getting creative and raising money for Catholic radio, that's the way to do it. Okay, Colette, listening to EWTN radio in Fort Collins, Colorado. Hi, Colette. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi.
Hi.
I just was calling I have a grandmother, my grandma Julie, in Creston, Iowa. She's been such an influence in my life. She's very thrifty, and she had 6 children. And so, but anyway, so she started a thrift store for her Holy Spirit Catholic Church in Creston, Iowa. And so with all of her, like, donations. They donated to the church, and eventually they actually got a new building, and so it's been such a great thing for their community. Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. We were listening to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And but anyway, my fiance and I, we went to her thrift store and we started collecting china, and we collected all these like mismatched china for our wedding. And so we had like this kind of like thrifty tea party wedding reception. And it was all just based on my grandmother, and just like the act of like collecting all these dishes, and like really had made my husband and I very thrifty, to where thrift stores are like a regular part of our life, and it just helped us budget and learn how to have like, Christian values of being charitable, but also being very frugal with our money. So, this was all inspired by your grandmother or your husband's grandmother? My grandmother, yeah.
My
grandmother.
Oh, wow. What's your grandmother's name?
Grandma Julie. Julie Schmidt. She's in Creston, Iowa, and they have their thrift store there for the church. So.
Wow. I think that is so cool that you said at your wedding, having that eclectic kind of pieces of different china. I think that's really cool. That was probably very unique.
It ended up being really cool. Yeah, it was very cool. And so now we have all of this saved, and each plate has kind of its own story. I don't know where it came from or anything, but they all come from different thrift stores. And
What a story you'll have to tell for generations. That is awesome, Colette. What way to go. See, this is how we can get creative and make being good stewards of God's gifts and things around us, blessings around us. This is how we can have a story around it. It's really kind of amazing how God works and how it turns out to be something extremely beautiful and extremely something of value to share, just like your story, Colette. Thank you so much. God bless you. And say thank you to your grandmother. She's an awesome, inspiring lady. Wow. Awesome. Okay. John?
Thanks, Colette. Yeah, thanks for calling.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Deb.
Thank you, Colette. John, you are listening so patiently. You got our Patience Award today. You're listening in Massachusetts on EWTN Radio. Hi, John. Welcome to Take Two.
Hey, thank you for listening to me and taking my call.
Sure.
My question was that if I purchased an item of clothing or a lamp or so forth from a thrift store, and it happened to belong to somebody that was demonic, would it have an attachment to it, and would I have to worry about that and try to get rid of it? And how?
Well, John, it's a very interesting question. I'll go first here, and Deb, you may have some thoughts as well. I don't know how one would be able to know the activities of the person who had donated or otherwise given somehow these items to a thrift store. I mean, once you buy it at a thrift store, it's kind of like you never know. It's sort of a roll of the dice. I walk away sometimes wondering, gee, I wonder who wore this shirt before I did.
Right.
But there's no way of knowing. So, John, I don't know how you would know that. But, Debbie, I think if there was any inkling whatsoever, I would just say maybe get some holy water or blessed salt and apply it to the item. Or if you even want to feel more assured than that, perhaps a priest could say a prayer over it or something. But I'm sure it's a very, well, I don't know. I don't know how unusual it would be, Deb, but again, it would just be so hard to know in a situation like that.
It would be very hard to know, but we do bless homes. Priests bless homes, John. And if it were me and I was taking an unknown article into my home, and I had some kind of just a instinctual feeling that maybe this wasn't a completely holy, virtuous item, that's what I would do. I would sprinkle holy water on it. I mean, holy water is very, very powerful. That's what I would do. But I would also talk to a priest about it, John. That's an interesting topic, because I really don't know how you would determine it, because even when you buy brand new things, they're manufactured, they're handled by people, they're shipped by people, so they're touched by other people that could have, not good intentions. I mean, so we really don't know what the origin of any article is, but I would ask a priest about that. For me, I have holy water bottles, just so you know, John. I have holy water bottles in my car. I have them in my purse, in my home. Our home is blessed. So if you can say that I'm definitely holy water to the max, absolutely.
So
there you
Thanks,
go,
John, for the call. 1-800-585-9396. What is your take on thrift stores, frequenting them, donating stuff, maybe even operating one? It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Children don't learn their identity from a mirror. When they're first born, they learn right away by looking at mom and dad. I am precious. I'm worth dying for. And if you're adopted, you learn that from your adopted parents. Somehow we get it in our heads that we can increase our value by our accomplishments, that we can lose our worth through sin. Yeah, I don't love my kids because of what they do. I love them because they're mine. I'm stuck with them. They're stuck with me. God loves us for the same reason. Isaiah 43, you are mine. He thinks we're precious, worth dying for, and no act of grace or sin can change that. As you strive to be all you can, don't forget who you are.
This is Chris Stefanik. Complete coverage of World Youth Day 2016 from Krakow starts Tuesday, only on EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
60 Seconds with Father Mitch Pacwa.
There can be no doubt that the exercise of the priestly ministry, especially in the celebration of the sacraments, receives its saving effects from the action of Christ himself, who becomes present in the sacraments. This is a very important thing because all too often we have had liturgists and clergy who start to think that perhaps the liturgy is about us, and we make a good experience by music that makes us just want to hug our neighbor, or we have a good feeling about it. I'm not against hugging your neighbor. I'm not sure that Mass is the right place to do it. But that warm, fuzzy feeling is not what Mass is about. The essence of the sacraments is that Jesus Christ himself is acting. He is present.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
Well, today we're talking about thrift stores on Take Two, and we're so glad you're with us, and our phone lines are just lit up. But there's room for you if you want to jump in at 1-800-585-9396. Okay, real quickly, before we go to Adam in Massachusetts, Adam, hold on right there, because when Rita called in from Cape May, New Jersey, she has a thrift store that benefits her local Catholic radio station. Rita, if you're still listening, somehow you hung up before we were able to obtain your contact information. So Rita, if you could call back, speak to Matt Gabinski, and leave your contact information, I would like to get it, and there's some other listeners as well. If not, Rita, we probably can find you because you gave us your call letters in Cape May, New Jersey, so we could probably track you down. But if you're there, Rita, call back at 1-800-585-9396. Okay, Adam, you're waiting patiently in Massachusetts listening to EWTN Radio on Queen of Perpetual Help. Hi, Adam. Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Hello?
How you doing, Adam?
You're on, Adam.
All right, fantastic. I want to throw out my take, and which I think it might be a little bit different. I love shopping at thrift stores, as does my family, and I wanted to say to do it for your health. As a little bit of background, I'm a registered nurse, but more importantly, my wife's an epidemiologist, which essentially means she's an expert at studying populations and health patterns and trends in those populations. And what a lot of people, it's a common thing, but very unknown, is that there's a lot of chemicals and extra byproducts put in clothes. If you ever notice when you're in a store and you inhale the smell of a brand new article of clothing, you get kind of a funny smell that goes away. It's the same thing as the new car smell. It's the same thing as brand new furniture. And what that is it's basically chemicals that are put into new clothes. And they can have a lot of hormonal and endocrine type effects. They can have a lot of neurological effects. And there's so many disease processes and types of things in our society today that are just completely unknown, and no one knows why this sort of thing happens. But there's a lot of research to show that a lot of these chemicals can be very dangerous. But it's also known that after time, so many washings of clothes that they'll dissipate to a large degree. So that's one reason we definitely love buying secondhand clothes.
Wow.
Secondhand cars, secondhand anything. And I would especially emphasize, and this is true because we have a 1.5-year-old and a newborn coming up next month. We're we're having a new baby, and we would never put brand new clothes on the new baby whose system is so fragile and so delicate. And I know that's like a bucket of cold water for some people, but it's kind of one of those things that's not well known, and I felt like sharing.
Well, John, I don't know how long you've been listening to the show, but I'm homeopathic, holistic all the way when it comes to approach on different things. And so when I raised my children, I used to always wash the clothes 1 and 2 times beforehand because I had read that as well. And I used to have friends that used to say, "Why are you doing that? You're ruining the clothes. They're getting all wrinkled." And I'm like, "No, I got to take off all the chemicals."
Absolutely, Debbie. I'll tell you, you hear people, "Oh, I love that new car smell." Oh, yeah. Nothing gives me a headache more than new car smell, and there's a reason you get a headache. It's not natural. It's chemicals. And but not to scare anybody into it, but if there was ever a reason to buy secondhand clothes, and especially baby clothes, that's what I would say.
For our health, absolutely, John. That's awesome. But that's great information for us to know. Thank you.
Well,
thanks, John.
For having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
It just kind of struck me. It's as kind of funny nowadays, especially young people. Some of the clothes that they buy brand new look like stuff that a thrift store wouldn't even carry. You know what
you're talking about with the ripped jeans and stuff?
The ripped jeans and all. I look at some of these things, fashions that young people, I wonder how much they probably paid $60, $75 for those jeans.
Oh, a lot. But
I have to go to the thrift store, get a pair of scissors, make one tear, and start making a bunch more tears, and you've saved about $70.
You could do that. I have to tell you something funny, Jerry. You had made a comment months ago about those ripped jeans that people are wearing now, that have like 5 and 6 cuts in the jeans, and they're supposed to be designer jeans. And it was hilarious because that same week I had just picked up and was pondering whether I should buy these jeans, and it did have the rips in them. And the whole time I'm thinking of you in the back of your head thinking, I can never wear these in your presence. You'd probably start laughing hysterically. So I put them back. So you saved me. You saved me $65 or $70, Jerry.
Wow. So dinner's on you next time we're together. Okay. All right, we're going to go back to your calls here about thrift stores and their value, their contribution to our lives. Mary, thanks for holding in Indianapolis, listening to EWTN Radio on Catholic Radio Indy. Hi, Mary. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello.
Hello, Mary. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I live in Indianapolis area, and we have a center downtown, the Catholic Center, that it's called the Birth Line. And I have friends who go to garage sales and thrift stores, and they take their time and money to buy baby clothes and equipment, and they gather all these things and take them to Birth Line. And then the mothers who can't afford to outfit their children or put clothes on them, they go there and they're given clothes for the first 3 months, and then they go back after that and get another 3 months, and they also get diapers and bottles and equipment. But this is a great way for them to refurbish their shelves, because they're always running out of the baby clothes. And I just think that'd be a great thing if somebody wanted to take their time and to take those things down there.
Wow, that's fascinating. So it just kind of everybody does a group effort to help others who are in need. I think that's wonderful. And is there a lot of people doing this, Mary, or just like a handful of people?
Well, it depends on who's volunteering there. There's usually about I haven't volunteered there for a while because of health, but it's a Catholic center, and they anybody who has the time to go there can help sort clothing and put packages together for the newborns and the mothers. They also have maternity clothing for the mothers, and these are all given to them. They're not they don't charge for these.
Wow.
But not everybody does this. It's up to the individual volunteer, but anybody could do that. They don't even have to be volunteering there.
Wow, Mary, that's another great example of really serving Christ and serving others in a way that, like we're talking about here on the program today. And we're going to pray. We're going to join you in praying, Mary, that continues to be a great blessing to a lot of people who take advantage of that service. Anything else you wanted to add on that before we let you go?
Just please pray for the pro-life pray for those babies that need to have advocates for them.
Amen. Amen.
And Mary, can we offer prayers for you too? Did you say your health wasn't doing that well?
Yes, I was in an auto accident a long time ago, and it's taken a toll.
Okay, well, Mary, you can start counting on the prayers. We'll start praying right now for you. So start feeling them right now. We have prayer warriors that are just willing to pray for all of the EWTN listeners round the clock, and so you're one of them, Mary. So count on it, okay?
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Mary.
God bless you for the call at 1-800-585-9396. Do you have a thrift store in your area? Maybe you volunteer at one. Maybe you operate one. Maybe you've donated clothes, and that gives you that good feeling of knowing that you're getting rid of some stuff that's bogging you down and also making quality merchandise available to those who can't afford new stuff or are just looking to practice stewardship. And by the way, this show is not about picking on people who pay retail for clothes and stuff. We have to have nicer things for definitely certain occasions, and some people would prefer not to shop at thrift stores. And let's face it, Debbie, I've walked into some thrift stores where I had high hopes, and it wasn't a lengthy visit because you just walk through and you see they're not all created equal, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Some have really, really nice stuff and quality stuff, and others have stuff that I really wouldn't encourage people to buy and wear and use in the home and stuff. So it really is, one has to be a little bit discreet and discerning in this area.
Right.
But I think the benefits that our listeners are sharing with us today really make it worth investigating.
Yeah, I agree. This is a great conversation. Okay, Gabrielle, you're up next in listening to EWTN Radio in Massachusetts on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, you're up next.
There's me again on Gabrielle's radio. Hi, Gabrielle. Are you there?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
Good. You're on.
So, why we like to go to thrift shops is we like to buy the religious items and crucifixes and icons that people drop there.
Uh-huh. So you pick up all the religious items that are at thrift stores?
Yeah, most of them.
Are they expensive, or how do they price them? I'm curious.
Well, they price them at a good price. They're actually pretty good. We try to go once a week, but
wow. And what do you do with those items? Do you give them out, or do you keep them, or do you collect them, or what do you do with all those items? I'm just interested.
Usually we hang them up in our house. We found last time 3 statues of our Blessed Mother and 4 crucifixes, so we've already hung them up in rooms and placed them around the house.
I think that's great, and it's sort of a way of, if I can use this word, not maybe in a truly, totally literal sense, but kind of rescuing those items. Because maybe they weren't used in churches. Sometimes you will see things, really big statues that you have to believe were one time in a church somewhere. And unfortunately, we hear stories of churches that when we went through the liturgical changes and quote-unquote renewal and all this of the 70s and 80s, a lot of great statuary ended up in church basements and in thrift stores and consignment stores and other places, and I've heard many people who would go around and quote unquote rescue these things. Now, if it's just a smaller statue, it's really not on the same level, because I believe these things that were used in churches were certainly part of consecrated ground at one point, so they were set aside for the service of the Lord. But Debbie, I just think it's great that Gabrielle goes and especially looks for religious items, because we all should have these in our homes, and sometimes those can be pretty expensive. So it's a great way of practicing good stewardship and still furthering our faith walk with the Lord.
Yeah. That's amazing. Gabrielle, while you were speaking, it was interesting, and then while Jerry was talking, I started thinking about it would be fascinating to talk to people who give up their statues or their crosses or crucifixes to thrift stores. I'd be interested as to the backstory of that. What was the reason? Did they like Jerry was saying, were they not used? It was not used properly, or did they give up their faith? Or I would be very interested in that, and then what prompted them to give it over to a thrift store. I don't know. There's an interesting story there. I don't know often if you've thought about that, Gabrielle, or when you're buying these, especially if you see some that are very unique. Are you ever wondering, boy, I wonder who owned this?
No, we usually just find them, and sometimes I wonder why they dumped it, but not really who owned it.
Yeah,
but that's actually a nice thing to think about.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when my husband used to be in he used to specialize in foreclosures. He's in real estate, and he worked a lot in foreclosures. And we used to find that people would leave behind statues of St. Francis and the Blessed Mother in their backyards and stuff. And I would often say a prayer because especially with a foreclosure, most of the time people left where they didn't want to leave, and there's a lot of sadness around it. And I would always remember stopping it with my husband and say a prayer because I felt really sad that they left behind a statue, and almost like they were saying, okay, let the statue still stay on my property. It was interesting. I don't know. I just had some deep thoughts about that. And when you were speaking, Gabrielle, it made me think about that. But that's a great ministry you've got. I think that's awesome. And your house must look really beautiful, filled with all the different eclectic religious items. That's awesome. So way to go, Gabrielle. Thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thanks, Gabrielle, for the phone call. And keep doing what you're doing. And if you get your house too full of those things, just give them to your neighbors and your friends, because I'm sure they'd appreciate it as well. 1-800-585-9396. This show is called Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We like to take a little bit of a different look, kind of put a different spin on certain topics today. And we're talking, or each day I should say, and today our topic is thrift stores and frequenting them, patronizing them, the good, the benefits of that, donating to thrift stores, operating thrift stores. They support a lot of churches and other ministries. So what's been your experience? What's your take on this? 1-800-585-9396. All right, Christine, you've held a long time too. Thank you so much listening to EWTN Radio on KQOH in Springfield, Missouri. Hi, Christine. Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful that you could take my call. I really appreciate it. And I'm hoping I can tell my husband later that I got a Patience Award. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you can have two of them.
All right. That's even better. So many wonderful points have been brought up, and I hope I'm not repeating one because I didn't get to hear everything from the beginning of the show. But I could probably give you 10 different reasons why I love thrift stores. But two that I will mention is that buying whatever items you can, even if you can afford new things, buying those pre-owned items can really help address our environmental concerns. It doesn't take much thinking to realize that when I buy used clothing, the resources that would have gone and the pollution that would have gone into the production of those clothing, this is just a way to address that. The more that we buy pre-owned cars, clothing, everything, the more we can kind of be good stewards of what God gave us. The other issue, kind of related to that, of course, we want people to be employed in our country. And able to make those things new. So I don't want people to think that is without any regard to jobs. But, for example, textiles, which probably makes up the vast amount of thrift store items, and probably the majority are clothing and other textile items for the home. A very high percentage of those jobs are now overseas, probably permanently. And those folks that work in those factories, more often than not, with a little research, you find out they are not treated humanely, and these items that we may buy new at very low cost in our retail setting in this country are very often produced by people who are not paid or treated humanely. And so one of the ways that we can kind of address that concern is by buying pre-owned clothing. Now, I know there are probably people who would say, well, isn't it better that these people have jobs? And I guess that's a whole other discussion. But the fact of the matter is, new items sold at low cost in America are not always produced domestically, and as such, we have no way of knowing the human rights conditions under which they were produced.
Wow, some great points there, Christine. Thank you for raising those, and that is one. You did not actually repeat to things that other callers had said, although I think the part about the stewardship and the environment and all of that I think had been made. But this other point about where our textiles are often made, and it's a really complex question. Sometimes we learn about these things. Other times I know a lot of manufacturers like to keep some of this stuff hush-hush, but it really should be a concern of ours where our items are made and by whom and under what conditions. So, Christine, Debbie, I think she raises a fantastic point there, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're so blessed that you called in, Christine. And if I could do this, I would give you 3 Patience Awards just so you could go around and tell all your friends. That's how awesome I think you are. Thanks, Christine.
All right, great to hear from you on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And Beverly next in Worcester, Massachusetts, listening to EWTN Radio on Emmanuel Radio. Hello, Beverly. You're on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi.
Hi, Beverly.
How are you?
Better now that you called.
Oh, thanks. You know what? I've been doing this for over 20 years at our church, and I don't know if people know, all our money goes to outreach. And our school, whatever we salvage, we sell, and then that goes to the school. And I just want to say it's a lot of work, and you get a very hard time getting volunteers. We used to get the mothers, and they got so much off on their school, but this day and age now, all the mothers think they have to work.
Right.
So but it's amazing what we get.
Yeah, and Beverly, you also introduced some, I think, important realities here that we sometimes don't think about, and that is operating a thrift store is not going to be lucrative, certainly. I mean, most people who get into it are doing it as a service to provide a reasonable place for people to buy things that they need that they otherwise might not be able to afford. Having it be associated with a school or a parish, I think that's fantastic. But Debbie, the work that goes into it, when stuff is, I know what I sometimes do. There are thrift stores that say, "Hey, just drop your boxes full of stuff off at the dock, and we'll take it from there." Well, it can't be fun to be the person who goes out to the dock and hauls 5 boxes of shirts and pants and other household items
has to
in
sort
there.
it.
You have to sort through it all. Is this something we want to sell? Is this not something we want to sell? Is it high quality enough? Is it clean? We have to wash all this stuff. Yeah, so I think Beverly raises some really key points, Deb.
Yeah, Beverly, it's a very wonderful service. It's a selfless service, and it's a ministry, and I see that's why we devoted today's topic to it. Hopefully it'll raise awareness and more people jump in, and if they're listening to it, maybe they'll look to a certain area and maybe say, wait, I can do this. I can really help the community out. So that's the only way to do it, is if we keep talking about it. Hopefully this will help a little in getting some volunteers, Beverly, in your area. But the more you got to talk about it. Like a lot of people don't even know things are happening like this. Like we heard the one story where couples are buying the clothing and then giving it to crisis pregnancy centers. A lot of these things we don't even know that's happening. We have to get the word out on the streets of what's going on so that people can get involved, because there's good people out there that really want to give of themselves, Beverly, like yourself. So thank you for doing that. You're a hero in the community, Beverly. Way to go.
All right. Thank you, Beverly, for the call. I think we have time for Julia in Ontario, Canada, listening to EWTN Radio there. Hi, Julia. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about thrift stores today, and we are happy to have you on the program and hear your take on this. Welcome, Julia.
Hello.
Hi.
Being an avid recycler, these stores make perfect sense. What I like to do is I go through books, and when I can afford it, I buy ones that shouldn't be read by the public, and I get rid of them.
Oh, so
Wow.
you're clearing the streets of bad literature. I love that.
Especially stuff that affects one's faith, things that give people ideas that they shouldn't be having.
Right.
But there is a doctor in our area who has committed to sending shipping containers around the world, and he makes sure that they go to the missions. And so a lot of people, they get rid of their clothing that way. And it's just a wonderful ministry he has, and he has students who help him. They get their volunteer hours that way, but it's very hard work, as you said.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a saintly man. He and his family, they've committed to this, and they get at least one a week, but mostly more than that.
Interesting. Interesting, Julia. Thank you for sharing that. And it's a very unique approach, Debbie, that she has there. And it would almost be like somebody who had great means of wealth from God going through the wherever they sell inappropriate magazines and stuff and just buying them all up and taking them out and putting them on a big bonfire or something. But
right.
Anyway, it's a unique approach. And who knows how many people have been saved from buying a book that might not have edified them by Julia and her team there in Ontario.
Right. I love that. I love that. Julia, you're another hero. Amazing. Thank you for taking the time to call in and share your ministry. That's beautiful. We feel so incredibly sorry that we couldn't get to the two Station of the Cross listeners, Ellie and Rita. But here's some good news, Ellie and Rita. You can go on to EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook. You can keep the conversation going there, or you can go on to take2show.com. You can comment there, or even hit the bright yellow button, the JD button, to take you to jerryanddebbie.com, and you can leave your prayer intentions. You can leave your comments. We're sorry we couldn't get to all of you. It breaks our hearts, but the show moves very fast, and you have great takes, and we try to get to as many as we possibly can.
Yeah, we've got great listeners. Cynthia emailed. She said that she believed that she heard on one of Father Mitch Packwood's shows with Paul Thigpen that there are special prayers for lay people regarding spiritual warfare. So John's question about if there were any kind of shenanigans, bad spiritual stuff attached to stuff you buy at a thrift store. So folks, you can probably find that in EWTN's archives on EWTN.com.
Tomorrow, we've got planned for you, Love is a Choice. We've heard so many times people saying, I've fallen in love. Is it a feeling or a choice? We're going to talk about it tomorrow on Take Two. But stay tuned in all day long on EWTN. Until Jerry and I are back with you, have a beautiful and blessed day.